Will the housing market in Phoenix crash under Trump? Now, be sure to stick around to the end because I've got something for you that's going to help you get thousands back on your next home purchase. It's called Moving Kit. More on that towards the end. Be sure to hang in to the end because we want you to get in on that. We don't want you to miss out on this. Hey, Tom, I just got to ask you, I know you've got an opinion on this. Do you think that the housing market here in Phoenix is going to crash under Trump?
Great lead in, John.
Yeah, man.
Well,
everybody's wondering, right? We all want to know.
I think everybody would hopefully agree prior to COVID that when you look at unemployment numbers across the board being historically low, that means that people have more money and people are more home buyers than renters. So I would feel like the general layman's answer would say the housing market should not crash under this president and kind of the direction that it's been going.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you. Now, there's a lot going on right now, and
Sure.
it's really changing the landscape for buyers and sellers. Here's a couple facts that I pulled up this morning I thought would be interesting. Since the numbers came out in April to this point in May, the average home price is down in Greater Phoenix by 7%. That's a big dip. We
Really?
haven't seen a dip that extreme since 2010. So it's been 10 years since we've seen a fall that great in a 1 month period. And we know why that's because. Now,
Sure.
Here's a couple other facts. Well, I went back all the way to 2000, and I have not seen the month of May have so few a number of closings in the last 20 years. So it's
Wow.
been, I don't have data that goes further back than that. I didn't go further back. I can research it and find it, but we haven't had a May this sluggish, in 20 years. However, as you and I have said, we've been busy. I know you've been busy. I've been really busy, busier during this COVID era than any time of year. And you can just feel it in the market, Tom, that the housing market, I'm anticipating it to bounce back and for numbers to normalize as we move into the middle of the summer. And part of it's because of interest rates, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you think from what you just said, if you say values are down 7%,
Yes.
and rates are at historic lows, I mean, what better time to buy and to jump in than to right now?
That's right, man. The people who did sell during this COVID era, they were serious about getting their home sold. They knew that they were at a unique time. Still, there were buyers out there for those homes, but in order to get them sold, people who didn't want their stuff sitting on the market, in order to compete, they lowered their prices and homes got sold. So, sellers are going to do what they need to do to move their houses. But right now for buyers, the opportunity is crazy good, isn't it?
It's awesome. And it goes to show why sellers, you look at kind of what's happened in the past 45 or 60 days, why sellers need to use somebody like you to list their house instead of the offer pads and those, because they've all run for the hills. I mean, I've got buyers that all of it, they wanted to go the easy route, even though it was COVID. But at the end of the day, they all kind of retracted back from that and would go to somebody and need to use you because they're going to get a better price. They're going to get a higher sales price, and they're going to get something that is far better than what they're going to get by using some of those places too. It's been telling.
Well, what Zillow and all the rest of those iBuyers, a lot of them did, the offer pads of the world and so on and so forth. A lot of them had people under contract. They had agreed to buy their homes, and some of these people had moved on and made contracts on homes that they were going to buy elsewhere, or had just packed up and gotten ready to move, and then those iBuyers canceled their contracts.
Right.
And stated that they were worried about COVID and all that, but I think they were just really worried about profits, and they really don't care about people. They care about the bottom line. That's what I think.
Yeah, well, I always say I always tout relationship because I think the relationship at some point matters. And you have to get to moments like this where, you thought it was easy to go to those and you thought it was going to be better for you. And ultimately the relationship doesn't matter to those large companies.
Another thing to keep in mind about the economy right now, something we want to think about is back to our initial question, is the housing market in Phoenix going to crash under Trump. And I have to just point to what was going on before COVID, because COVID came out of nowhere, right?
Right.
There's no way
Right.
you could have really planned for it. I guess we all know, all the epidemiologists knew that, these pandemics come and go and it was time for one to happen. And, they can say that, but we didn't see this thing coming. It's like expecting
No
a
way.
volcano to erupt or a tidal wave to occur. You just don't know when it's going to happen exactly. So
Right.
one thing we do know is the economy was rolling before this. We have not had unemployment in this country as low as it was before COVID since the late 1960s. Yeah,
Wow. Rolling on
long
the
time.
river.
Like that's rolling like 50 years ago. So, we didn't create COVID. It just kind of hit us.
Right.
And no matter what was going on, it was going to do what it did. So I really think that what was going on with the economy is going to pick up and continue to go on. And I know a lot of people have been hurt, and a lot of people are also, this is also opening up the door to some opportunity, right? Where
I mean,
some,
think about it, John. So, you look at they always tell you to buy stocks on a dip, right? You look
yeah,
at what you just said, 7% down, but we're at historic rates. And you look at what Trump has said repeatedly, and even his economists had said, maybe third quarter is a rebuilding. Fourth quarter should see an uptick, and they expect big numbers next year. So if you say, I'm a brand new buyer, or I'm a buyer thinking about buying, and you're on one of those unique little dips that you can say, hey, how do I take advantage of this 5% in my pocket? Right now is your time, right? I mean, if you just listen to what's going on, you would say prices are going to go back. People are going to go back to work. Values are going to go back. That means that right now is your right time.
that's right, man. And no matter what, Phoenix is still a big time city, and it's still undervalued in a lot of people's minds, because just look at San Francisco or LA, where the price is double. The average price, the median price is double what it is here at least. So, Phoenix is still a good deal, and we're a home buyer. So there's lots of room here. There's plenty of land to build on. The builders are just going at record pace right now to build homes, and there's high demand for housing. So I don't think that the Phoenix economy is going to match what's going on in the entire country, because we have some unique attributes here in Phoenix. We're just not expecting. I am not expecting a great slow in the Phoenix economy due to COVID.
I
Not long
totally
term.
agree. Well, if you look at, as everybody says, one death is too many. But when you look at it from a broader picture, we have 4 million people in Maricopa County, and we have 650, let's call it, deaths. Most of those, I think I saw 85 or 90% are in the older population, 65 and plus. And so if you look at them, generically speaking, like you said, when it bounces back and things start to go back to normal, our economy has not been impacted, but you've got a 5% dip in prices. So that just tells you the snapback is sitting there waiting to happen as soon as people start to think that we can go back to work and do things.
7% dip in prices, Tom.
7.
So look, tell me this, like not very long ago, our interest rates were 4.5, four
Sure.
and three quarter. What are they today on a 30-year fixed loan for somebody with great credit? What can they expect to find for interest rate?
So I'm going to tell you 2 answers to that. I think you'd find low 3s, pretty routine, depending on credit score, depending on loan to value, how much you're putting down. So generically speaking, low 3s. But I also have a lender doing a special program right now that I've never seen, that if you haven't had a loan with them in the past 18 months, we're getting 30-year fixed money under 3. Again, depending on credit score, depending on loan to value, that stuff all plays a factor in that. But I'm telling you, that's cheap, cheap, cheap money. You haven't seen that before.
Wow, man, that's big time. So prices are down, interest rates are down. If I just ran some quick calculations before we started talking here, and I figured that maybe somebody could get something in the low 3s instead of 5% compared to just a few months ago, and that's a difference on a $300,000 house of about $300 a month.
Right.
So instead of $1,600, around $1,300 principal and interest. That's a big deal. So now you're telling me I need to get my calculator out and refigure it. It could be even a little bit lower than that. So That's why, man, that's why I'm so optimistic about our market right now. This is really, the Fed is just doing a good job pulling their levers, doing what they can to get
Right.
things going again. These guys aren't stupid, man.
And what's nice is that people are moving to Arizona. You know, we aren't some of the states where everybody's the exodus. I mean, Arizona is a state that people that live outside of Arizona are moving to as well. So not only do we have our own population, but we've got brand new people coming in. I just think it's set up for a great year and a great 2021.
For sure, man. Hey, one of the things that I alluded to when I started recording this video, I wanted our viewers to know about my moving kit program. Now, that thing is designed to get you thousands back when you buy a home through myself and Tom.
Yep.
Now, Tom, the lender, is going to waive your appraisal cost when you buy the home through he and I. Isn't that right, Tom?
Right. Yep. And so what happens is they'll see a credit for the appraisal showing up on their closing disclosure. So
Right. So
that
you'll
way,
pay for it up front, but as the home closes, you're going to get that
yep.
money back. And
Right.
in addition to that, when you go to getmovingkit.com, you can sign up for my moving kit. And depending on your price range, you're going to get thousands back on your home when you buy your home with me. And also, I wanted to encourage you to check out our next video here. And I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching this one with us. See ya.
See you, John.